Hi guys, and welcome back to this journey towards excellent exam results. In these shorter revision videos, we are going to be breaking down different concepts within the GCSE Geography specification. The aim of this is to help us understand the concepts better and to give us the information and confidence we need to answer exam questions. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the characteristics of tropical rainforests. Where are they located and why? What are the plant and animal adaptations in them? Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so what are the tropical rainforests like? Now, the first thing we'll talk about is where we find them, and they are found near the equator. Now, the equator is a low pressure area with a lot of insolation and rainfall all year round. And this is a very good environment for photosynthesis to take place and also for a huge biodiversity to thrive. Now, biodiversity refers to the number of plant and animal species in an area. And like we said in the last video, plants are referred to as flora and animals are referred to as fauna. Now, the Amazon rainforest is home to 10% of the world's plant and animal species. Okay, so the next thing that we are looking at here is the structure of the rainforest. So the rainforest is made up of several layers. And the first layer here that we are going to be looking at is the emergent layer. That is the topmost layer here. And this here is above the main canopy being the layer after that. So most of the trees grow up to the height of the canopy layer, but the emergents are extra tall trees. They are really tall. They grow up to 60 meters high, and they are above that main canopy. Now, the reason they grow to that height is because there is a lot of competition for the sunlight in the rainforest due to the biodiversity that we mentioned earlier. And therefore, they are growing to that height to be able to reach the sunlight. So this layer here is home to monkeys and birds. They tend to live in this particular emergent layer here. Then the second layer is the main one, and that is the canopy layer. And the trees here are around 20 to 40 meters high. And they provide a continuous thick layer, providing obviously a sheltered environment for the biodiversity that is below them. Now, there's a lot of food here, and it's home to snakes, birds, lianas, and primates. Then we have the next layer here, which is the understory layer. Now, this particular layer here receives very little sunlight, obviously due to the main canopy the canopy layer that is above it. Now, it has mostly young trees, and those young trees have very large leaves, and those large leaves are an adaptation for them to be able to capture any sunlight that they can, so that they can be able to carry on with that process of photosynthesis and make their carbohydrates of their food. Then lastly, we have the forest floor right at the bottom. Now, this here is a dark and damp layer with thin fertile soils due to decomposition. So why are we saying that the soils are fertile? We are saying that the soils are fertile because they are getting a lot of decomposed material. So the material that is decomposing is basically the leaves of the plants that are in the rainforest and the animals that die and fall to the forest floor. So those decompose very quickly. And the reason they decompose really quickly is because that warm or moist and damp environment, which obviously has some water, is a really good environment for that decomposition to take place. So there's a lot of decomposition that is then adding nutrients into the soil, and those nutrients are then very quickly being taken up by the trees because of that huge biodiversity that we talked about as they grow. Okay, so we have also a couple of animal and additional plant adaptations that I'd like us to go through. And in terms of animal adaptations, and these are likely to be short questions in the examination, about how either animals or plants have adapted to living in the rainforest. So the first animal adaptation here that we are looking at is for the sloths. So the sloths have large claws and tendons to help hang upside down for hours in the rainforest. So the sloths tend to live on the obviously they live in the tree on the trees, and they only come down to the forest floor only once a week. So they are basically on the tree throughout their life, so to speak. Then we have the primates. Now the primates, their adaptation is that they have very long tails, and these tails help them to balance in the canopy layer. And they also have very strong claws for grip, to be able to grip on the trees as they obviously move from one tree to the other, because we know they like to hang on the trees and to jump from one tree to the other. Then we have birds here as well, which and their adaptation is that they have loud calls so that they can hear each other in the very thick vegetation and especially in the canopy layer. Then we have the big cats as well. So tigers, leopards, and jaguars have camouflaged fur so that their prey cannot see them when they are approaching. Now, as far as the plant adaptations are concerned, we have the epiphytes. So the epiphytes have roots that dangle mid-air, and they do this so that they can get water and air in the main canopy. Then we have lianas, and lianas are climbing plants. So these ones climb to the canopy layer from the floor to reach the sunlight in that particular layer. Then we also have drip tips as an adaptation. So these are leaves, and they are thick, waxy, pointed leaves to shed rainwater off them, so that the water does not remain on them and cause them to rot. The drip tips will help them to shed or get rid of that water pretty quickly. Then we have buttress roots. Now these are the most popular, not the most popular, but the most common, and these are the roots of the emergent trees. So we said that the emergent trees are the ones that are really, really tall. They grow up to 60 meters, and they need these massive buttress roots, sometimes that are above the surface. Well, they are not necessarily just below the ground, but above the ground as well. They need these roots for support, and also to be able to pick up the nutrients from the surface of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this video on the characteristics of tropical rainforests. I hope that you have found the information insightful and useful. I have also done a video covering the whole of topic 8 on forests under threat. It will pop up as one of the suggested videos at the end of this one, and can also be found in the Forests Under Threat playlist. Videos on all the other subtopics within this topic are also in that playlist. There is also a playlist for the next topic, which is consuming energy resources. Thanks once again for joining in this journey towards excellent exam results. All the best, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.